Mythics. How are we all? Yes, it's another week, it's another day, it's another Saturday. It is another live stream from Edra Tales Twitch channel, and also we do have an Edra Tales YouTube channel where I put all of the live streams after they've been broadcast. I then export them over. It's that simple. So if you prefer to watch them on YouTube, please do so. My name is Ken Boyter, but you probably already know that if you've been watching the channel. If you haven't, then you do now because I've just told you. Anyway, this is Loquacious from The Bottled Imp. Yay! So The Bottled Imp is another YouTube channel that I co-created with Julian, and it is a fantasy channel all about... We're getting blasted out by Skyrim music there. I don't know if that's too loud for you. We are... yes, so The Bottled Imp is a YouTube channel that does fantasy board game reviews, fantasy film reviews, and fantasy book reviews, amongst other things. Good morning, Martha. Super tired here. Couldn't sleep until 4 AM. Oh, Martha, I feel for you. I sometimes have that. Actually, last night I did sleep all the way through. But like you, sometimes I'm just awake and... Or I might fall asleep about 11:30, 12, and then wake up about 3:30 and be wide awake. So they do say that 3 to 4 AM is the witching hour. So I guess where it's a bit thinner, the veil between this world and the other world, the spirit world. So maybe if you're sensitive to that, maybe that's what happens. Plus, the other thing is, yeah, if you're creative, you kind of you want to keep doing your projects. You want to keep being creative. So, you know, why should we let sleep get in the way is basically it. So anyway, there you go. So hopefully you can have a bit of a snooze this afternoon. So normally, yeah, that's what I try to do. I try to then, you know, if I've woken up about 9, half 9 or whatever, I will have a snooze in the afternoon or early evening just to compensate. But it all depends, you know. At the moment I'm on holidays, so, you know, I can just wake up naturally as opposed to having to wake up and go to my part-time job. You know, where you wake up by an alarm and that's, you know, you're not necessarily ready. Didn't manage anything yesterday, need to get more food today. Oh, well, there we go. Well, that's make that your goal for today. Your target for today is just to go out and get some food, and then, you know, once you've achieved that, not only will you know, be fulfilled that you are achieving your goal there, but you will also be full up as well. You won't be hungry, presumably. So yes, I think there's somebody else that is watching, but they haven't commented. There might be a few other people that haven't commented, but that's fine. If you don't want to comment, that's not a problem. But if you do want to comment, please feel free. Yeah, snacks. You need some snacks. Exactly. Snack attack. Sometimes I tend not to buy snacks if I can help it. Simply because it's easy to have a snack attack or a snackcident. Good morning, Jonathan. How are you, sir? How are you? What's today? It's Saturday. I'm on holidays, so I sort of start to lose track of what day it is, which is how life should be. We shouldn't have to know what day it is. So how have you all been? What have you been working on? What have you been working on? Jonathan, still planning? Yeah, I was going to say, tickets are running out. Oh, are they? I better get my ticket then. Is that clever marketing, Jonathan? No, I better get my ticket. I know, I'm just being lazy. I will try and get my ticket today. I should remember. Yeah, looking forward to that. Not that clever. Yeah. No, I know. It's just one of those things. Just some people just have this knack of being able to sell stuff. And what frustrates me is sometimes, you know, I like watching documentaries. So I might see a documentary about a scammer, and somehow they've scammed people out of millions, and you sort of go, but how did you manage to do that? Because scamming presumably is similar in selling. You're still selling something. You're still trying to convince people to part with their money. So if you're that good at scamming, why don't you turn that into an honest way of making a living? Do you see what I mean? You know, there's just things like people manage to raise money from investors. How do you raise money from investors? You know, do we tap up Sir Ian? Say, Ian, we've got a great business proposition for you, mate. You know, how does it work? This is one thing that's just mystifies me. I wish I could go to Fighting Fantasy Fest 5. Can't, since it's so close to my birthday. Well, that is fair enough, Martha, and happy birthday in September for you. And this, you know, does go back to the perennial. Is that a thing? What does perennial mean? Every year. Just a constant theme, really, is when you're being creative and you're creating a project, there's one thing creating the project, but there's one thing selling the project. And if you're a creative, you're not necessarily good as a salesperson. And so therefore you put all this time and effort into the project and then it doesn't sell. So you think, right, great. But one thing I have noticed actually, which I guess creative people don't always think about. Let me move the table forward a bit. Oh, I've got my little table in front of me. There we go. They do allow me a table in here, don't they? So I can do my creative projects in the dungeon. Dungeon Productions. That do creative people, and this is a question, do you as a creative person think about what does the market want? What do people want? Do you think about that, or do you just sort of create what you want? Because I think they are two different things. I'm slowly learning they are two different things. Which is why when you speak with publishers, be it book publishers or game publishers, they might clash with what you feel is going to sell, because they're keeping a track on the market, on what's actually selling, as opposed to this is what you're writing. You know, this, I'm just going to create this, and this is what I'm into. And I'll give you an example, because it's almost like things seem to go in trends. So why do they go in trends? You know, 1 minute it was all, everybody wanted vampires. You know, there was back in the 80s, wasn't it? The vampire craze with Interview of a Vampire. And they had some sort of vampire craze. Then, and also then with Twilight, years later, everyone seemed to want to do Twilight. Then you got the Harry Potter and the magic and fantasy, and then everyone was doing that. So the thing is, though, the counterbalance to, well, shall I try and make stuff for the market, is, but you could be the one that sets the new trend. So say everybody's doing vampires and you come out with a werewolf book. Do you see what I mean? Then, oh, look, werewolves become popular. You know, does it work like that? So I've been watching this this YouTube channel about board game design, and he's very good. His name's Adam in Wales. He's a part-time board game designer, and most of people that design board games have to be part-time, because you're not necessarily going to earn enough money to live off of that full-time, unless you have a smash like Wingspan or Catan or Ticket to Ride, or, you know, one of the biggies. An evergreen title, as he calls them. Same with being an author. You know, it takes years, as well, Jonathan knows, years to become a full-time writer, unless you have an immediate hit that, you know, you just earn lots of money from, which again is I guess it's rare, but it does happen, because someone's got to be having the best sellers, haven't they? Martha's put, it doesn't seem like Norway has a fancy festival. That feels unfair, since we have festivals to celebrate crime writers. Yeah, well, there you go. That's an interesting thing. Now, that could be because nobody's thought, oh, let's do a fantasy festival. But it might be that people have thought about that and thought that fantasy isn't popular enough to put one on. Because, if you know, like anything, you don't want to be losing money. So it's interesting. So crime, I would imagine, is a bigger genre than fantasy, sci-fi and fantasy. because crime seems to cross all sorts of social boundaries and class boundaries. Good morning, Sally. How are you? Whereas fantasy doesn't. Fantasy doesn't cross. I mean, Lord of the Rings film is an interesting film because that did seem to cross the genres. Not the genres, it seemed to cross the boundaries of what people like. So I think people that went to see Lord of the Rings films, a big bulk of them, obviously fantasy film lovers, but I would imagine that other people went to see them because they heard how good they were. Does that make sense? Whereas crime, automatically, anybody from any walk of life could be into crime fiction. So we're in the wrong business. We're in the wrong genre. But this is what I mean by... So no one set up a fantasy festival in Norway. Now, who knows really why? But it could be that they've done the figures and they've gone, yeah, we don't feel there's going to be enough people attending to make it worthwhile. So that's an interesting subject. So, and also, yeah, so the reason why I mentioned Adam in Wales, his YouTube channel, is he does board games. I think he's got about 8 to 10 games that have been published over the last, 6, 7 years, 8 years, and he's got a couple more coming out soon. And he talks about the advice that people get. Good morning, Lee Rin, or good sunset. He talks about the advice that, just design what you know, design what you like, and other people will like it too. And it's like, well, is that really true? Because he did that. He designed a game that he really liked. He liked dice and he liked cards. And so what he did is he designed a game, got it published with WizKids. I might have talked about this before. It's called Throne or Thrones. And basically, it fell between two camps. People that like chucking dice didn't necessarily like set collecting cards. And people that like card set collecting games didn't necessarily like chucking dice. So he fell in between two camps. So he designed a game that he enjoyed, he and his playtesting group and his friends enjoyed, but yet the wider audience wasn't there. And he even put it, I designed a flop. So he started to, I think from that moment on, this was years ago, think, okay, what does the market want? What's selling? What's big? What's happening? And not saying copy them, but just sort of get a feel about what games people like playing. But there will always be that game that they don't know they like playing as well that's not out there yet. Do you see what I mean? So I guess before Catan came along, or Ticket to Ride, people didn't know they would like playing that game until it was put in front of them. So it's kind of a chicken and egg. But equally, maybe it's better to lean towards how a publisher would think, because then a publisher, when you present a game that you feel a publisher would like and the market would like, you're more than likely to take it on. So, Lirin, it's not every day you get to wave within breathing distance. Taiwanese Olympic gold medal heroes. Oh, fantastic. Returning in a triumphant parade. Serenaded with a street of rainbow-coloured confetti. Oh, fantastic. Taiwan, you did pretty well, didn't you, in the Olympics? You were quite up there in the medals table. Yesterday was a wonderful day. Never thought you'd experience history that approximate the confetti-filled streets of Times Square during the triumphant parade of World War II. So hang on, I'm slightly confused now. Times Square, that's in America? Are you in America? Oh, that was what it felt like. Right, sorry. Okay. Yes. Oh, I see. So those images of, all the ticker tape, all the confetti coming down. Yeah. Or like when the astronauts, were doing the parade. Any big parade like that. I see what you mean. Yes. Yeah. Well, I was very lucky with the Olympic torch, because that ran through. So 2012, when we had it in London, I live very close to London. It's just north of London. It's literally 25 miles north of London. But it's leafy. It's leafy green. It's in Hertfordshire, and basically it's directly above. So the torch was running from the north to the south, and it came through Hertford, which was fantastic. So I had my little son. He was like, and we videoed it. I videoed the yeah. It's great. That was back in the day when I'm not sure we had video phones, so I think it was on an old digital camera. So, yeah, fantastic. That's fantastic. So this is what I mean by do we design now for your own quirky taste? Because Adam worked out, so he's got this journal about board game design. And I guess it can apply to writing as well. It's like, what kind of designer are you? What kind of games do you like playing? What kind of games, do your friends like playing? And what is selling at the current moment? What games are out there that are doing well? And does it line up with what you're liking? What type of games that you like? So it's sort of, I guess, after designing a flop, he sort of thought, actually, hang on, I need to really work out what people want and kind of give them that, which sort of, you feel like that goes against your creative instincts. It's like, oh, I want to create this regardless of what anyone else thinks. And I think that's good. However, you might go back to bed. Oh, Martha, yeah, why not if you're tired? Still have me on in the background, though, for the viewing figures. No, just you're more than welcome to watch. But if you do need to go to sleep, then feel free, obviously. Real life takes precedent. Yeah, so I think it is looking at what's out there and then seeing what you can add to it. So, for example, don't just do a replica of that. See what else you can twist into it. So, and another thing I think that people like is they like familiar, but they like something slightly different in there as well. So, if you're like, I guess my murder mystery game, that's a familiar setting. It's 1920s. It's your classic cozy murder mystery for the first case. There's room for expansions where it could go in all sorts of directions. Different genres, different future. You could have one in space. You could have whatever. But I just thought, well, when someone says murder mystery, everyone thinks of Agatha Christie, 1920s, Sherlock Holmes. It's sort of classic. Cozy. So I've done that, but yet I've sort of created a game that again is like Cluedo, so it's familiar, but it's on steroids. There's other things you do. So it's sort of when a playtester playtested it, they said, oh, it's like Cluedo on steroids. Or I thought that. I can't remember who said that, but somebody said it. I think it was a playtester. I went, oh yeah, that's a very good way of playing it, because they were familiar with the moving around locations. But where it differs from Cluedo is that you've got various different things you can do. You're not just ticking off a list. You're actually reading information and you're discussing. It's cooperative. So you're discussing with your fellow sleuths what this clue could mean, what your theories are, and it all changes. And it's done over a 24-hour clock, time period. So again... And I've got witnesses that move around, so the first case is a hotel. So witnesses will move around. So say you go into a new location, you set that room up. So it'll tell you what clues are there, what forensics are there, and also it might say, move Dr. Funkenstein into this room, if not already in there. So they'll, so you physically move them. And that means that when they move from room to room, they might tell you different information because you're on your own. Whereas when they were, in one of the main rooms with all the other people there, they probably didn't want to say much. Do you see what I mean? So it feels like it's happening in real time. So, again, familiar, but hopefully with enough hooks, enough twists. So there we go. So that's sort of where my design and my writing will go. That's where I'm kind of focusing it now. So talking about what's everybody working on? I know Jonathan's working on the Fighting Fantasy 5, which must just be a huge, tremendous task. Because Jonathan, you've got guest speakers, you've got very well renowned people in the gamebook industry. You've got stall holders, other gamebook authors will have their little, lots and lots of emails. Yeah, I can imagine. Just me organising, meeting up with some friends takes about a week. Not in the old. Remember as a kid, you'd literally go, right, I want to go and do this. I'm going to go and knock on, Stuart's door, see if he's here, see if he can come out to play. And that was it. If he was in, yeah, come on in. You'd literally just go out to play. You wouldn't go, oh no. Well, no, sometimes they'd say, oh no, he's eating his dinner, or this is happening. But Martha is working on a gift for a friend, but struggling to write the story. Well, keep going, Martha. Keep going. Have you plotted it out? Have you planned that out? Sometimes that helps if you plot it out. Just even if it's bullet points. And also ask yourself, what do you want the story to achieve? What are you aiming for? What type of story is it? What sort of emotions do you want your reader to have? Leaving is, but instead of... No, I haven't. This is a deadline, 1 year. Oh, okay. That's cool. You've still got a year. Oh, that's good. But that's very good planning, actually, to make sure you've got enough time to do it. Instead of seeing Alien Romulus by itself, going to instead watch Double Bill, with the second being a warm hope and hopeful space fantasy about Lovecraftian horrors fought against the power of friendship and hope, channeled through soul of classical music. Okay, unconventional, I know, but in spite of my lifelong love of Alien Saga, I better have a dessert of positivity during these times, so my old roommate depression can continue to look somewhere to live. Fantastically, Rin, exactly. Let's kick that to the curb. Show him the door. Exactly. Yeah, well, enjoy it. That sounds crazy. Talking of Lovecraftian, the BBC, I don't know overseas if you can get BBC Sounds or maybe another podcast service, but they do dramas. Normally they'd go out on the radio, but now obviously you can just put them up on BBC Sounds. But it's called the Lovecraftian. Is it the Lovecraft investigations? The Lovecraft investigations, or the Lovecraft investigations? Really, really good. Really fantastic drama, and it's about these two. It's set in modern day. About these two, one's a podcaster and one's a journalist, and they, team up, and they're basically sort of it's as though it's behind the scenes of the podcast. So you're not actually listening to their fictional podcast called The Mystery Machine, but it's sort of it's the tapes basically, and so they go out and interview people. They're on the track of various things. So basically, they start off, one person goes missing, and that leads them into this rabbit hole of Lovecraftian and aliens, and it's really good. It's really good. You should listen to that. I watched BBC Horrible Histories on it, yay, and learn much more about history from the show than Square ever did. I know. Well, it's I think that's I think it's difficult for teachers because they've got 30 students to teach. They haven't got a budget like the BBC with the BBC Horrible Histories. And, that's a creative way of approaching education, whereas they just haven't got the time and, to do that sort of thing. So hopefully it's complemented. Your school studies can be a deep dive into a subject, whereas Horrible Histories will give you basics. So hopefully they can complement. But yeah, Horrible Histories is brilliant. Horrible Histories is brilliant. So, yeah, it is. Horrible Histories is great. I think the guy that originally wrote them, he was a historian, but he remembers being bored with history as a kid, and then when as an adult he found out all these other juicy stuff and thought kids would love to know about this. All the horrible things that happen. But also I think there is that difference of, you imagine the outcry if a teacher is teaching you those horrible things. An outcry from some parents would be, oh, morning jam. I thought that said morning fellow entrails. Edralites. Oh, Edralites. What's that song? I quite like that, Edralites. It does sound very religious though, doesn't it? Come to think of it, Alien 1979, starring Ian Bilbo Baggins Holm, is practically the closest to perfection at the Mountain of Madness by Lovecraft as we're going to get for now. Yeah, you see, again, I've not read all of the... This is what I don't know. I read Call of Cthulhu. I've got his complete works. He's written more than just one short story about Cthulhu, is that right? Or about the ancient ones and the Arkham Horror. Is that right? Because if so, I need to read more. So, yeah, there you go. So, I'm just going to move on now. We are talking about, yeah, so talking about trying to organise stuff. I did have a very, very valuable chat with Jonathan earlier in the week. So again, thank you so much, Jonathan, for your time. I do appreciate it. About Kickstarter. Because as you all know, October is, I'm launching my Kickstarter to Kill a Thief. It's a Devilish Dilemma game book, Edra Tales game book, adventure. I don't know how many more words I can fit into that. Mountains of Madness is his best one. It's an epic about everyman explorers who stumbles upon incomprehensibly old civilizations in Antarctica. Oh, is that where we get the rumours that there is actually something there then? You've got a backer right here. Thank you so much, Jam. I appreciate that. Have you signed up to get notifications and news? Because if not, you can go to edratales.com, and then I've put a banner across the top of the goblin, and then it says learn more. There's a button. If you click learn more, then I've got a page that tells you more about the game book, and it also says sign up if you want to know. So if you want to put your name on that list, Jam, then please do so, because then I'm going to be updating people as we go along. And thanks to Jonathan, I've had a look at my reward structure and what I'm doing for rewards. What is the difference between a wizard and a sorcerer? Oh, I think, yeah, this is where my knowledge... I really kick myself because my knowledge doesn't stay in my head. Class, of course. Oh, I see. You mean in D&D? Or just generally? Because I thought a wizard has to learn the spells. They haven't got magic running through them as such. They're not born with magic. Whereas a sorcerer, doesn't a sorcerer have inbuilt magic that's there with them? It's a D&D joke, yeah. But I quite like the question though, Martha. Class. Exactly. It's very good, Martha. But yeah, but do you know what though? That's the sort of thing that when you do research, that's the sort of thing you need. It's good to get right. Sorcerers have dragon blood, and hence they're born magical. Oh, is that right? Is that generically, or is that D&D specifically? But my brain does not retain information, and that's, you know, inputted my data. Thank you very much, Jam. D&D, right? Oh, okay, there you go. So I was kind of right that one is magical born and one, yeah. And wild magic is much fun. Yeah, so much fun. Thank you very much, Jem. I do appreciate that. So having chatted to Jonathan and just getting to know, because my theory, it's an interesting note, because Jonathan was like, you've got to give them a reason to back the project. And obviously, if you're interested in the game book, that's kind of what you're backing. That's what's drawn you there. But then you could argue, well, I'll just wait for it to come out on Amazon, and it might even be cheaper. So you go, oh yeah, that's a good point. But the thing is, it might not come to Amazon if it doesn't successfully kickstart. So it's kind of chicken and egg. So you're not only backing the project for the book, the actual physical book or the ebook, you're backing the project to help creators as well, and help get projects that might not have been created out there. So that's a lovely thing to do, supporting independent creators. And also, Jonathan said that's why he's done other reward levels, because there are other rewards that you can offer them and they will back them. You know, people might think, oh, that's really cool, I'd like a pair of custom dice, or I'd like a metal coin, or I like a set of postcards. And you're building up a little fan base as well. That's the other thing. So it's like, oh, okay, because for me, creating all those extra rewards is just, it looks like it's, you know, it's a lot of extra work. But if it encourages people to back the project, then, you know, that's the work you have to do. And yeah, another backer right there. Thank you so much, Martha. I appreciate that. Mailing lists are quite important in marketing. Jam's also... Oh, you've also got just a little one. So Jam's got a Kickstarter in October. What's the Kickstarter then, Jam? And can people sign up for it? Do you want to put a link? If you want a link there, put a link to it. So obviously Jonathan's latest book actually is The Darkness Over Arkham, which we played part 1 the other day, and I had Steve Barrett, who's recently joined, you know, followed the channel, and he watched the full episode back on YouTube and commented. He said, we did get the correct names, but we added it up wrong. So that was my bad. And some of your bads. Come on, nobody corrected me. Although we did sometimes have 2 options. I did look at both of them. So we can start from there, where we go back and we actually just add up the things again. And also Jonathan texted me as well saying, I've gone back and had a look at that. That looks like it's you've added it up wrong. So again, we've had double confirmation there that we were on the right track. So if you were watching, we were on the right track. We just added it up wrong. What, I was tired and hungry. Yes, I see. Martha's stepping back from any blame. And I don't blame you too, either. Oh, okay, so Jam has got Paranormal Hero 3. Going to have some special editions and custom stuff. Goal is nice and low. That's fair enough. Yeah. And Jam has put a link in there. So if you do want to sign up for Paranormal Hero 3, that would be brilliant. Malcolm Barter and Mike Shepherd are on board for some art. Fantastic. That's brilliant news. So, yeah, this is the thing. And again, you know, if I listen to Jonathan correctly, because that's the other thing, what goal target do you need to set it at? And so you need to work out the cost per person, per item. So, for example, I need to work out what the cost of a paperback book would be just for one, and then work out what a cost of a hardback would be for one. And I've got some other reward levels, and you work all of that out, and that's your base. That's covering your costs. But then Jonathan said, yeah, remember, Kickstarter take a fee, they take a processing fee. Then you've got your post and packaging. Plus, you know, you might want to put a fee for your own time for writing it, and for me typesetting it and illustrating it and doing the Kickstarter and posting everything out. Do you see what I mean? So you might want to build in a fee. Plus you build in an extra bit of money just in case you've miscalculated stuff, which is kind of what I did with the Story Spark cards in the first deck of Story Spark cards. I totally ballsed up the shipping. And so luckily we had enough money to cover the shipping, so we weren't out of pocket. We made a little bit of profit, but not a lot. But we would have made more if I hadn't ballsed it up. So build in a little contingency plan as well. So I think I've currently set it, but this might change when I look, you know, when I double check it. But the funding goal is going to be £2,000. Lee Rin has put it, we have come a long way since class by mail. Once upon a time we had to wait for moves for weeks or days and pigeon. Yeah, fine. Now we can play interactive RPG with jogging across continents in real time. That is true actually. God, yeah, I heard about those where you would just you would put in the physical mail. That's amazing. I think Ollie says he does 75% to make sure everything's covered. Jonathan calls this contingency just in case anything goes wrong. Yeah, so what, you add 75% on? Is that what you're saying, Jam? So say for example, all the rewards just on its own, you know, just one of each item costs 500 quid. Let's say it's that. You're saying then add 75% onto that 500 quid. Is that what you're saying? Because while I was going through this, my head was still aching. I'm not very good at the business side of stuff. How did the barber win the race? He knew a shortcut. There it is. I'm putting serious thought into buying a mini Bluetooth keyboard for my phone. Oh, in your backpack, so you muck up as much during the next outdoor Edra chat. Yeah, yeah. Because can you get like little mini ones then that are kind of like a little keyboard? That'd be cool. So, it would be 1,500, 3 times the cost. Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay, well that is interesting. That is very interesting because, yeah, what have I put? Now I've not given myself a wage. Yeah, so mine. Yeah, actually, I think I've done that then. Mine roughly works out as £600, I think, but that's without me giving myself any payment. Because I thought, well, and again, the other thing, so that would be, yeah, so I've set it at 2,000, so that's probably good. That's contingency. Folds out, full size, otherwise compact. Oh, I see. Oh, that's cool. So it like folds up and then you just unfold it. That sounds very cool. See, on my laptop, I don't like using the mouse pads. Nah. So I have an actual Bluetooth mouse, a proper mouse. So it feels like I've priced it correctly. The other thing that you've got to take into account is your status, as in your or what's the word? Your publicity. No, what's the word? Your fame, I guess. Your fame. Sorry, had to answer the door to sign for FFS Dice. Yay! We were just talking about Kickstarter, Jonathan, and how you very kindly helped me and had a chat. So thank you once again. And we're just talking about costing everything up because I just said, look, I've done a spreadsheet, Jonathan. Look at that. Look at that. It's not in Excel though. Don't like Excel. You love a spreadsheet. And it was doing my head in still though. So what I've done, if this is correct, I've costed all my rewards and how much one of each would cost. Okay. And then added stuff on for the contingency. And Jam has just said that Ollie says it's 75%. So I said, so if it's £500, say everything costs are £500, he said you add 75%, so that's times 3. So the funding goal will be 1,500. And I sort of went, yeah, I didn't really work it out like that, but I put £2,000 as the funding goal because mine works out about £600. So that takes into the contingency if it goes wrong or not. That's interesting. I've not done it that way. Okay. Seriously, because the other thing that I had, indeed, I only recently accepted the title of author after writing for Savage Realms. Before that, I considered myself a hobbyist. Oh no, you shouldn't. No, I'm gonna stick up for you there, Jam. Put it this way, and I'm gonna follow Adam in Wales, because Adam in Wales said if you spend your time designing board games, card games, tabletop games, if you spend your spare time doing that, even if you're not getting paid for it and you've never had a game published, you are still a games designer, because you are living, you're breathing, you're thinking it, you're doing it. Just because you haven't got paid for it yet doesn't mean you're not doing it. So I'm going to disagree with you there. You've been a writer. Martha's a writer. I'm a writer. Yeah. But there are different levels of writer. Do you see what I mean? So, you know, I'm not an officially published author. Well, I kind of am. I've had a few things in magazines, so I guess that means I'm a published author. But I'm not a published author in terms of like Jonathan is with his Arkham Horror and all of his other things where someone else, another separate publisher, has wanted to take him on. So there are different levels of publisher, if you like, different types of publishers, writers and designers. 2 of my teachers bullied me for wanting to be a writer. Well, shame on them. Shame on them. They should have encouraged you, Martha. Exactly. The thing is, if you enjoy doing it, do it. But equally be realistic, yeah? Because the amount of authors that get actually published by a publisher are very slim. There's not that many. So will you realistically get picked? You might do, but you might not. So be realistic. This is why, you know, self-publishing is good. Because you can at least put it out there. Whether or not it sells is a different matter. Whether or not you get good reviews is a different matter. Whether or not people go, oh, you haven't proofread that, the quality of this is rubbish, is a different matter. But you at least have access to publishing it. Do you see what I mean? I've read some really poor, badly written novels that are published by publishers. Yeah? Equally, I've read some poor, badly written, self-published books. But equally, I've read some great published books and some great self-published books. So there's no total rhyme or reason. The only thing I will say with a publisher is, though, that they should have certain standards. Whereas if you're self-publishing, you might not. Yeah, and that's not necessarily down to you being rubbish. That could just be you can't afford to pay a typesetter, so your typesetting's off. You can't afford a proofreader, so your proofreading's off. But then that will reflect what people say about your book as well. Jam has put here, Jamie Fry will be selling a couple of LIGs, so I'm getting noted out there. Yeah, there you go. I don't quite know what an LIG is, though. I feel very ignorant. One of them still do, and it's just because I messed up. I know my book isn't the best, but it's what I wrote. Absolutely, Martha. If you enjoy it, do it. And, you know, if you get criticism, take it on board, have a look at it, dismiss it if you disagree with it, or think, okay, I can improve. What I like about you, Martha, well, there's lots of things, but you're always open to learning, and so am I still. You know, Jonathan's got far more years of experience writing books than I have, so obviously I'm going to look up to Jonathan and say, you know, you inspire me, and you know, I'm learning from Jonathan. Do you see what I mean? Everybody's, you know, but as long as you enjoy doing it. All I see, nothing less than 2 passionate, exactly, hard-working artists, nothing less. Don't ever let cynical. Absolutely, Lee Ring. Absolutely. If there's one thing I've learned, is to do what you enjoy, as long as it isn't to the detriment. Isn't detrimental, of course. Give the world your gifts. Absolutely, absolutely. And then when you put it out there, it's difficult to not have expectations or not to think, yeah, this is going to sell 1 million copies. It probably won't. So as long as you're realistic about stuff, then that's fair enough. Another thing that I learned from Jonathan was actually have a selection of books. You know, I'm very slow in my output in books, but I'm changing that now. I want to write at least 1 book a year, maybe 2. But then I've been distracted by board game design, as I always do. Do you see what I mean? So, yeah. You know that it started 3,000 word short story and then exploded. Yeah, absolutely. But that can happen. You know, you know. I'm happy if the book sells 5 or 6 copies. Absolutely. This is the thing. Yeah, we'd all love our books and our board games and card games, whatever it is we're doing, to sell thousands and thousands. Of course we would. I mean, I don't think anyone would not want that. I might be wrong, obviously. There's always an exception to the rule. However, you know, that's not necessarily going to happen. So you just have to be happy with doing it. It's the journey, the creative process. Getting a finished project out there, it's trickier than it sounds. So what I've done, so what I was saying, Jonathan, is, so I've set, so all my costs come to about £600. No, do they? No, not that. My costs come to about, about 400, possibly 500 if I take my time into it. But then, you know, how many hours have I spent on this? It's not realistic. So I've set my funding goal at £2,000. And what I was going to say is that you've also got to take into consideration your name. How much weight does your name carry? Now, I'm a new author. I'm unknown. So I can't, like Jonathan, who's built up a following, he's built up a little, you know, fan base over the last 10, 15 years in terms of Ace game books. Obviously, he had fans from Fighting Fantasy and other Doctor Who books and Warhammer and all of that. But Jonathan now raises £16,000 or, you know, £17,000 in a Kickstarter, which is amazing. That is phenomenal. That's not really necessarily going to happen for me. I hope it does, because that would be fantastic. But I'd be happy to reach 2,000. You know, I've got to stick at where my name is at, if you like. My reputation. Who is this Loquacious, McCarbre, Ken Boyd? You know, who is he? Lots of game book people that buy game books won't have heard of me. So I have to set it at a reasonable, realistic level. But I don't want to set it too low, like we were saying, because I don't want to be out of pocket. I don't want to be having to fund this myself. That would be a complete disaster. So I think if it's costing me, you know, anywhere from £300 to £500, if I set it at £2,000, that actually should work out. So Jam's put, I think for the game book genre alone, Jonathan is pretty hard to beat. Yeah, unless you're Steve or Ian. Yeah, absolutely. And Lone Wolf. Lone Wolf do really well as well, don't they? Convention merchandise has done the lot. Yeah. I'm happy with doing it, and I will ask a question in Edra Tales later when I get back from the store. Absolutely, Martha. Yes, feel free. Jam's put, I don't think Malinka would fund. Oh, yeah, sorry. You didn't think Malinka would fund. I'm only really known as a forum presence, and that was my first kick. So how wrong I was. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but this is the thing. You're more of a presence than I am in the game book, because I haven't really got a lot of time to build up that presence and be in these forums. But I do, you know, I do read them. I do get feeds. You know, I like reading about game books and stuff like that. So I like everything. So maybe, hopefully, people notice my name and they kind of know me. My YouTube channel kind of helps, the Bottled Imp, but we don't do that regularly anymore. So maybe not. That's waned a bit. I'm really kind of starting from scratch. Some people might know my Story Spark cards, so I can probably send them an email just to say, by the way, you know, if you like the Story Spark cards, I'm writing my first game book. So that might help. So I have got a small marketing list that I can draw upon. So the other thing, though, what I found was, so just to let you know, I'm going to be doing some crazy things. But maybe I'll do, we're running out of time, but I will tell you, I'll do these are what the rewards are going to be. In fact, I think I've put them on the Edra Tales page already, so if you do want to have a look at the rewards, you can have a look on Edra Tales. The Story Spark cards are magical. My friend is looking to buy some. Where can he do this? He's not getting my sets. Well, Martha, if you ask him or her to go to Edra Tales and if he fills in or she fills in the contact form, it should come to me. Or if you, yeah, that's probably the best way. I've not got them directly on sale there yet, but I will be putting them on sale there. But if they want to just buy a couple of decks now, then they can read all about them, or they've seen them from yours. But go to Edra Tales and fill in the contact form, and also write, you know, that they're interested in buying the Story Spark cards, and presumably they live in Norway. Yeah, so obviously I know how much the postage is, and then I can quote them how much the decks are going to be and how much the because the decks are £20, and then the postage as well. James, but when I joined the main FF Facebook group, there was only 300 members, 9,000 now. Yeah, there you go. It's because we all grew up with them. What I found though, and Jonathan, can you back me up on this? So I really want to do a metal coin. I really like the idea of having a metal coin as a reward. But they only do 50 as the minimum order. They do 50 as a minimum order. So what I've done, so I've done it. So is this the correct thing to do? I've done it as a stretch goal. Yeah, I've done it as a stretch goal. So I've had to cost that one metal coin costs £313. So for 50 metal coins, it will cost 313 and 80 pence pounds. Yeah, so £313, which makes them £5.23 each. But I have to order 50. Do you see what I mean? So it's like, how do you gauge that in? So I've had to say that a metal coin is £313. That metal coin would be mine. I'll back that level. Well, that's quite an expensive level though, because in order to unlock it, it's a stretch goal, Martha. It's a stretch goal. Yeah. So I have to. I don't understand why one coin. Okay. How can I put this? Okay, so if the stretch goal is unlocked at £8,000, say only one person backed that level where it then gets put into, because like you, I've done it. Say it's the pen level, and I've got all my other levels which are cost less to back. Then the pen level, if we reach £8,000, that stretch goal is unlocked. Now, if only one, and it's unlocked to that pen level, if one person backs that and everyone else backs those, so no one else is getting a metal coin, I still need to provide that person, that one backer, with a metal coin. I have to order a minimum of 50, which is £313. So that one coin, you know, I give one to somebody, then I've got all 49 coins. What do I do with the other 49 coins? And also, that because no one else has backed it, that coin has cost me £313, if you like. Whereas if nobody backs any of that level and below, then I wouldn't need to order the coins, even if the stretch goal gets matched. Does that make sense? This is what I've done. I just wanted a paperback and a hardback and an ebook. Does that make sense? Yeah, Martha, this is what I'm saying. It won't cost you £313 or 5,000 Corona. What that works out at is £5.23 each. So each coin, once I've got them, I've spent £313. But I have to spend £313 to get 50 coins that then are cost me £5.23. So, do you see my problem? I don't know if I'm explaining it properly. But But I think I've covered it in terms of it's a stretch goal. It's not a regular pledge level. So if it was in the regular pledge levels, and somebody say it was this pen level, and only one person backed the pen level, and you got a metal coin with that, but only one person backed that for, say, you know, I'd have to put that over 313 quid so I could go and buy the coins. Does that make sense? It's too early for this. So, my advice, don't run a Kickstarter. Okay, Jonathan's got here. Look at Jonathan, the master. The master. You could do it differently. Don't limit the coin to one high pledge level. If you calculate that 50 people backing to receive a physical product will fund the project, have that when the stretch goal is reached. Everyone who is pledged to receive a physical copy gets a coin. Oh, I see. Right. Let me write that down. My brain does not work like this. Seriously, it just does not work like this. Price of crafting and moulding split among the quantity. Yes, no, I get that. They're saying, so the coin sellers, the coin manufacturers, saying, in order for us to make this worthwhile, we need a minimum of 50, because that's, you know, all our time and effort, and we have to create. Yeah, exactly. So each coin is £5. So let me write this down. So Jonathan has put, or do what you're saying, but make the coin generic devilish demon coin. Then if they're only left over, you could include them in future Kickstarter. Yes, that is exactly what I'm doing, Jonathan, in terms of the devilish dilemma. It is going to be a devilish dilemma coin. I think. Yeah. I think I've got two designs in my head. Either the devil face, and it's the same design on both sides, or I've got this little filler. I've been starting to do the filler, the filler images, and I've got this dragon sort of that I just did as a circle. So I thought that could be quite cool as the image, but then that's like a filler. I don't know. Do you want dragons? So hang on, right? So we're going to say that 50 people. So basically, and the other good thing about this though is if it doesn't fund, it doesn't fund. So yeah, so 50 people back the paperback. Okay. That will fund the project. Okay, funds project. Have that when the stretch goal is reached, that everyone. Okay, so if stretch goal is reached, every backer who backed paperback. Sorry, my brain will just forget this instantly. Or higher. Is it or higher as well? Yeah. Gets a coin. Because that's the only one where I had to get a minimum. Yeah, the custom dice guy that you put me onto, it looks like he only does D6s. If you do the coin your way, if that stretch goal is achieved, it might encourage other people to upgrade their pledges. Yeah, that is true. They might go, oh, I want the coin. Yeah, well, thank you, Jonathan, though. You've given me another thing to think about. Thanks. No, another thing to think about. So I can either do it that way or do it that way. I kind of like to think that the coin is quite a cool thing to have. Yeah, the custom dice guy, I think he only does D6s, so I need D12s. I should have said that really when we talked. So I've sourced who are they called? Oh, I didn't put their name on there. It's something like Goblin Designs or something. Oh, I put all the other names of all the other websites and everything. Yeah. But I'm still waiting for them to get back to me. So everything else, there's no minimum order. But obviously, the more you order, the cost comes down. Okay, I think I've got it in my head now that I think I've costed everything correctly and I think I've done it right. Yeah. He says. Yeah. Also, okay, I'll let you know the stretch goals then. I've got here, stretch goal is a set of postcards of the interior art, the black and white art. Stretch goal 2 is a cloth map of the city. I thought it'd be quite cool to have like quite a big cloth map of the city that I'm going to be drawing. Then we've got here, and then stretch goal 3 is the metal coin. So devilish dilemmas. Yeah. So I'm look. It's all exciting. It is exciting, to be honest, Jonathan. Well, and everybody, it is exciting getting all the extra stuff as well. They're the cool stuff. Well, the book is hopefully cool, but do you know what I mean? And I guess it does make the Kickstarter more of an event, doesn't it? It does make it more of a special thing. Need to keep the staff happy. Right, I'm going for a year's turnaround time. Won't take that long, but Tony Hugh found just a few months too much pressure around other projects. Yeah, that's the thing. Coin sounds like a flipping fun. Yeah, so I've missed these. It does sound quite complicated. It is, Sally, it is. And you will no doubt be hearing me bang on about this for the next couple of months. Look at that, and Jonathan's just taken delivery of 800 Fighting Fantasy dice, everybody! Woohoo! That is one massive game. Why don't you do like a probability? Roll all 800 at once and just see how many sixes you roll. Who are making the coins? Ah, that is a very good point. I have put their website. Okay, so the website address is www.madebycopper.co.uk. Made by Copper. No, or Cooper. No. How do you spell copper? COOPER.co.uk. They look pretty cool. The only thing is, I don't know if they send you a sample of the actual coin, because I want to see my design. Royal Mint, yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it? If you do the coin your way, yeah. That's something to look forward to, Sally. Yeah, exactly. She loves it, Jonathan. Absolutely. That's why I'm a keeper. Jonathan's got 800 dice, 500 lanyards. It's all adding up. Wow. That's impressive. I used Made by Cooper for the 40th... Oh, the Fighting Fantasy 40th anniversary badges for You Are the Hero. Ah, there you go. Made by Copper. Is it Cooper? I'm confused now. How do you spell Copper and Cooper? There will also be 400 programs. Jonathan, you've created a monster. You've created a... Cooper. It is Cooper. Okay. Right. Just learned that Cooper in medieval times is the name for barrel makers. Oh, is it? Ah. Oh, yeah. No, yeah, I knew that. I knew that. It's okay. I got my own back. Whinging about work. Yeah. We've got the yin and the yang balance going. This is highlighted in AFF black sand. It's okay, yeah. What, the Cooper Is that in there? 400 programs. Yeah, right. I think I've read everything. Right. So it is exciting, but it took me a whole day, maybe 2 days, to work all this out. And rework all the rewards, and then put up all the rewards on the Kickstarter. I've still not done the little images for the Kickstarter rewards yet, so I need to do those. So yeah, it's a big thing. Yeah, Fletcher's Arrow Maker, Thatcher, Maggie's dad. There we go. Well, anyway, I think we've just run out of time, haven't we? We got bogged down with the nitty-gritty details of Kickstarter, but it is interesting. If you are thinking of doing your own Kickstarter, don't. No, if you are thinking of doing your own, do that, but it's, you know, it's definitely worth, if you can, talk to someone that's done a Kickstarter previously and a successful one, like Jonathan. I very kindly also, years ago, with the Story Spark cards, managed to speak to Ollie Mack about Kickstarters. I was interviewing him for my podcast, actually, and we talked about Kickstarter and that, and he was very helpful. So, yeah, so once I do this Kickstarter, if anybody wants to talk to me about a Kickstarter, then I'm more than happy to do that, because I like to pay it back. You know, if I've had help, I like to pay it back to someone else. So, yeah, I'm more than happy to talk about it, but maybe after my Kickstarter, because this one's more complicated than the Story Spark cards. Even if it fails, it doesn't mean you have. It just means another way. Yeah, find another way to make it. Thank you, Jam. That's very encouraging. Yeah. You know, I had my Indiegogo one fail. It was of Magic and Monkeys. I had that one fail. And I think that might have been because it was on Indiegogo. I don't know. It might be just because it's a novel, and I don't know how well novels get backed on Kickstarter and stuff like that. Plus also, I didn't have all the extra stuff. So, you know, as Jonathan said, you've got to give them a reason to back the project. So there we go. Yeah. So, you know, I just had literally the paperback and the hardback, I think. And maybe I didn't put other stuff in there. Incentivize all the way. Yeah, I'm realizing that. I guess from my point of view, I don't know. I guess from my point of view, does it work on me? You know, having all this extra stuff as a punter. When I go to a Kickstarter, it's like, I just want the thing. Just want the DVD, or I just want the game. I don't need all the extra stuff. But maybe that's me. And this is what just ties back in earlier, what we were saying. What you particularly want might be different to what the market wants, what the majority of people want. And I think this is the case in this Kickstarter. I normally just back the base thing. So if it's Jonathan's book, I'll just get Jonathan's book. If it's a game, I'll just get the game. But other people go, you know what? Actually, I want a metal coin. I want a cloth. Give me all the goodies. I want this. I want that. So this is why it's good to talk to other people about stuff, because they can give you their experience, their wisdom, their expertise. I funded a short story anthology on Kickstarter. Tried again with another one, which didn't get any traction at all. There you go. So well done for, that short story anthology on Kickstarter. That sounds a really difficult task. So well done for getting that done. But then you tried it again and it didn't work. So it's difficult. There's no rhyme nor reason to it. And the thing is, Jonathan, you're a named author as well. So it's almost like, wow, if you have one success, I can understand that. If you have a failure, I wouldn't know where to begin to say why that failed. It's crazy. Each book I sell gets 3 tree saplings to plant. Oh, okay, for the planet, environmental game books. Oh, well, that's a good idea as well, yeah. Yeah, that's a great idea, Jim. Want both of them, they sound amazing, and a cloth map with Edra will be epic. Well, it's not necessarily going to be Edra, it's going to be Ferrum's Forge, where the city takes place. Where a lot of the quest, or half the quest, takes place in the city. Or a good majority of it. Or should I do Edra, the whole of Edra? I think the whole of Edra is too much. I think the city, because a lot of the game book, or at least up to half, or just under half of the game book, takes place in the city of Ferrum's Forge. And I've not yet planned the whole city out yet. So I'm intrigued to know exactly what it's going to be like. And I've written about Ferrum's Forge a lot. It's the main city that I've happened to be writing about in my short stories and in my... although, no, not in this one, but it starts off in Ferrum's Forge. So that's kind of my base city, if you like. It's the first... It's where the Legends of Grimace Ironblood takes place. There's a lot goes on in that city. And my first game book that I haven't published, that I've now gone for this one, I've written a lot about it. But so I kind of roughly know how the city's laid out, but I'm really itching to get drawing it. It's the capital of your world. Yeah, that's a brilliant way of putting it, Martha. Yeah. I want both of them. Oh, yeah. Grocklesnook looks bored. He seems like food snuffer. Yeah, he is. He's always bored with me. I backed Clemency Slaughter, was gutted that it didn't fund. Oh, okay. Oh, that is a shame. Yeah, that's the other thing. If you back something and it doesn't fund, you're like, oh, I really wanted that. So I guess this is my help. You can help me spread the word. Spread the word wide and far on all your social media. Get it out there, put it up in gamebook forums, TikTok, wherever you live, MySpace, Friends Reunited. Put it up on all of those, and then we can help. We can fund it, because if you definitely want the book, then that's a sure way to help fund it, isn't it? Even I can never pronounce this. Alancia was given out piece by piece, starting with scene by scene in Firetop Mountain. Yeah, the citadel of Balthras Dyer, Darkwood Forest, then Port Black Sand, slowly, yeah, with the reader's appetite, and we'll be back for more. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. That is exactly what I'm going to do. I don't want to spoil the book, but Ferrum's Forge isn't the only place in the book either. There is some other things going on, but I don't want to spoil that. So, yeah. But also it's that I think when you start a game book or you start a new world, you might plan out, like I've planned out the world. I know a lot about it, but I've not. But you don't know everything. You don't know everything. That's what I'm trying to say. You don't know everything. You don't need to know everything, because you're discovering it one step ahead of the reader. You're going, right, what's my next book going to be about? Oh, I know, it's going to be about druids. Oh, okay. So where do the druids live? Okay, they live near this wood. Have I created this wood yet? No, I haven't. Okay, what's different about this wood? Do you see what I mean? So you're just 1-2 steps ahead of the audience. Look at the time, my friend. I know, look at that. I better wrap it up. Thank you so much. Well, this has been interesting. It's been a lot of fun. I really appreciate all of your help, especially Jonathan the other day when we actually sat down and talked about it. I really, really do. I genuinely appreciate that. I will stop thanking you for it now, because it's getting gushing, isn't it? It's getting silly. We're British. We don't... but no, thank you. Ataraxia in Savage Realms is filling out there nicely. Exactly. Thanks to Troy. Yeah. Guest authors. Yeah, absolutely. That's a good business model as well, where you get guest authors coming in. So there, that'd be cool. Thank you so much for watching and for chatting, obviously. Good night, Lee Rin. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Sally. You've written all the names up for me to read, actually. That's very kind of you. Thank you, Martha. Anyone else? Have we missed anyone else? Thank you, Lee Rin. Thank you, Martha. Thank you, Jam. Thank you, Sally. I think that's everybody, isn't it? And anybody else that watched but didn't comment, thank you so much as well. Now, just to let you know, I'm taking a break this week, so there's not going to be a live stream, but we'll be back the week after, where we'll be doing part 2 of the Darkness Over Arkham, which is a fantastic Jonathan Green book as well. You can find this on Amazon. I did that, or you can go to their website, which is Aconte Books. Jonathan's just shaking his head. ACONYTE books.com. Check it out. It's an Arkham Horror game book. That's his latest game book that's out. Check that out. If not, go to jonathangreenauthor.com. I think it is, or .co.uk. I think it's .com. And check out the rest of Jonathan's books as well. Check out Jam's Kickstarter that's coming in October as well. So check that out as well. He's put the link into the comments. Paranormal Hero 3. We have Platinum Dark Souls 3 by them. Oh, excellent. Leerin's on his main quest there. Well done. Thank you, everybody. It's been a pleasure. So I will see you... hang on. Let me see. Am I going to be... Yeah, again, no Saturday. Sorry. Well, it might be. No Saturday. There's not going to be time for it on Saturday. But I will be back. So the next live stream then is going to be Wednesday the 28th of August. So I'm having a little bit of a break. Take care. And remember, may the stories of magic flow through you. Always. Balls that up, didn't I? Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.